I've had a lot of people ask me through email, also on our Facebook group. You can go ahead and look up Pramek. If you like our organization, we also have a discussion group you can jump on and talk to people. We have some great stuff going on over there. People have asked me, are you going to do anything on the AK series considering your previous experience with it? And the answer is yes. We're going to go through a few things tonight. We're going to go through in the next 10 minutes. Tactical reloads, speed loads, hand placement, how I like to handle the AK47 and AK series. I'm not going to say anything you see online is wrong or right or anything. We're just going to go through efficiency tonight. It's going to be fast, so if you have an AK, go ahead, pull it out, make sure it's unloaded. Never work with a loaded firearm unless you're at the range. And let's get started. For training purposes for this video, I've gone ahead and stripped down my AK. I took my optics off. I did leave the front handguard. A couple of thank yous to Ace Limited Stocks for the stock, Ultimac for the handguards, and also, or for the front rails, and also Heroes Tactical for my front forward grip. Let's go ahead and look at the way a lot of people like to do their speed reloads and their tactical reloads. They take the magazine, they knock the magazine out, they put the second one in, they come over the top, load, and they're ready to fire. Okay? So that's a quick one that people like to do. Let's do it one more time. They knock it, hit it, bring it back, up and over, load, and they're ready to fire. Okay, there's the first way. That is not my favorite way to do it. So what I want you to do is watch me while I do it the way that I do. Whenever I do a speed reload, I actually do it a little bit differently. I'm going to explain to you why. Knock it out, load it, bring it back, ready to fire. Okay? So you have the over-under. Some people like to go under and cycle. Some people like to go over and cycle. I use the trigger hand to do it. Now let's get into why I like to do that. For demonstrational purposes, if you're at home and you have a double mag clip, go ahead and put it in, load up your full magazines, do not load the firearm. I want to look at two things tonight. What I want to look at is the biomechanics when we look at the levers. When we talked about our universal stance the other night, we talked about the third class lever system. So let's go ahead and look at it. If I'm having to, remember, we have our point of rotation, we have our effort, we have our load. Our load is out here. For the next 60 seconds, I want you to go ahead and hold up a fully loaded magazine. If you have to, put 2 in there. I want you to hold it up in the firing position with no support arm and just hold it. What you will find after about 60 seconds of doing this is you've wasted a lot of energy doing it. So let's go ahead and go with a different method. Let's put our hand up. Let's take that off. Now, our trigger hand is free. We're resting at this point right here. We're relaxing. We're able to control the rifle, but also check your energy. We're not using nearly as many small motor muscle groups as we are with this. We're using a base support structure, so we're not having to keep it extended. We're also have our hand free. This is a much easier way to do it than over here. Over here, to actually aim the rifle, we have no support, so the arm is acting as a pendulum and it's going back. We're having to force it forward. Over here, we're simply resting and relaxing, using our lever system, using the biomechanics that we talk about. One of the primary reasons people say to go with your support arm, your left hand, for your reloads is because they say you're taking your hand off of the trigger group if you do it with your trigger hand. Logically, the gun's already empty, which is why you're having to get a magazine. So it doesn't matter what hand is on there. The other reason is that if you're using this hand and you're doing it with that, you cannot accurately fire the firearm from here. Not with accurate fire. You might be able to shoot it, but you don't have the support to weigh out the weapon and to balance the weight that's coming across right in your center mass. So keeping your hand out here, yes, you are taking it off, but your gun's already empty. So the reason that I tend to go with this is twofold. A, it allows me to continue using the weapon. A weapon without a bullet is just a really expensive club. It allows me to continue using the weapon while I'm doing things. So if I'm fighting, I can parry. I can actually move with the weapon to accomplish tasks that I need to accomplish by moving it around this way. The other reason is because in the one way that people do it, when they hit it, They load it. Then they come over. They bring it back, and it's loaded. Now they come back, now they're ready to fire. They've had to go long arm down, back up, eject the magazine, load the magazine, and then they're having to come over here, load. They're taking their eye off. You can't see through your sights. They're having to pull it back, and they're having to bring it back. Then they have to bring their support arm back to be in a firing position. That is not exactly the most efficient way to go about this because of the amount of distance your arm is having to travel in order to reload your weapon. When you do it the Pramek way, grab my magazine, when you do it the Pramek way, you've still got your weapon, you can still control it. You're keeping full retention on the weapon. Retaining the weapon from here is much more difficult because of where the lever is. Here it's more susceptible to being grabbed and worked around. From here, I'm able to actually control the weapon. So the other thing about it is that by ejecting it, then loading the next magazine, my hand stays right in here. My trigger hand stays closest to it. It's already an empty weapon. I'm not worried about firing an empty weapon. I'm worried about switching this out. Now a lot of people say don't take your hand onto the trigger group. Traditional AK, you have to in order to engage your safety and your unsafe. You have to in order to manipulate your slide if you have a jam. So the distance you have to travel after you've loaded is here, back to there. Now, you're going there, charge, unsafe, back to your trigger group. As opposed to here, over here, hit it. Now, let's say that this was already in a locked position. Let me fix it real quick. Let's say this was already in a locked position. You've been fumbling around with it, something happened. You've got it in a locked position, you come over, uh-oh. Now I've got to disengage the safety. I've got to bring it back. Now I've got to disengage the safety. Neurologically, I'm already trained to bring it over like that. It's not very efficient. As opposed to here, doing all of my work in this area right in here. I've got limited distance from the magazine. If there is a magazine failure, I'm pulling it back out, switching to a new magazine. I've already got my hand here. I'm not having to bring my hand back, fumble with the weapon, figure out what's going on. Why is it jamming on me? Oh, I can't get it back in. Now I've got to come back over, got to load it, nothing like that. I'm literally going jam, figure out my jam, put it back in. I'm still maintaining control of the weapon. Now I'm up here, bring it back, and I'm ready to fire. Now I'm in a good position. There's different ways to hold it. Once you start taking your hand off of this part, you're losing control of the weapon due to the weight in the front. You're keeping your hand on it and you're working. The second reason that I like to go with a trigger hand or a strong hand reload is because I can no longer grab my pistol. I cannot grab my sidearm at this point. While I'm doing my reload, if something were to happen, I've got a stuck hand over here. I'm having to drop this. I'm having to grab my pistol, having to drop this, not sure what to do with it. Now I'm having to pull my pistol. Doesn't make a lot of biomechanical sense, and it doesn't work integrated into your hand-to-hand combat system, going from long rifle to short firearm to knife, back into fist. So by keeping my hand up here, I'm able to grab, I'm able to move. I'm still able to work, but I'm not having to sacrifice my trigger hand in order to work with my primary weapon. I can still keep it shouldered, I can still work with it, I can still be going up and down, I can still work with the rifle, but I'm not having to give up my secondary hand. I've also got something to block and thrust. Knife thrust, I can block. I can use it to hit. I can't use it over here to hit somebody. I can use it here to block and still be able to reach my other weapons. Here, I can't do it. I can't cross to get my pistol. This is efficient. Right in here, These are efficient movements. This, I cannot get my primary or my secondary weapon. I can only reload the rifle, and if there's a catastrophic failure on the rifle, if I have to transition because my enemy or my opponent has gotten too far close and I have to transition here, right now, I am screwed for my secondary weapon or not. Instead, I'm going to keep it right in here. Another thing I want to talk to you about real quick is target acquisition with these speed reloads. Let's go ahead and look at the target acquisition. If I go with the generally accepted method for doing this, then I'm hitting it, bringing it over. Now I'm having to concentrate right in here to keep it back. I can't really be looking down the sight. I cannot see my enemy. So if my enemy is closing on me, I have just taken my eyes off target. I no longer have target acquisition. If I have any type of optics, I can't see them because my hand, my forearm is now covering that area. So when I bring it back, now I'm having to bring it back. Now I'm in a situation where I can actually see. So in an actual speed reload situation where I'm having to do all this, I'm having to concentrate in so many different directions, I'm actually losing my target acquisition while I'm concentrating on this. Versus the other method, which is here, that I'm actually, as I cycle it, bring it back, I can keep my eyes completely on target at all times. I'm not losing my sight acquisition at all as I go through it. I can keep eyes on target at all times as I'm going through it. So, in a situation where I've got to duck, I've got to move, if I'm hitting it, I keep my eyes on target and keep moving, as opposed to bringing over and doing this. I've also had a lot of questions about the lightning bolt systems, which are the left side charging handle for the bolt. Had a lot of questions about that. Had a lot of questions over time about the AK, about a lot of different things. What I usually tell people is that when it comes to a left side charging bolt, if it was really that needed, the Russians would have done it a long time ago. Kalashnikov, he put the rifle together, they've developed it over time. It is a very sound weapon system. It's developed for this very particularly, that if you change that, now you've got a whole set of dynamics. For example, if you're running the bolt with a 3-point holster like I am, I've got problems running a bolt with that. My hand's going to get tangled. If I've got a left side charging bolt hitting up against me while running, if I fall to the ground, I've got it falling into me, falling into my gear. Also, you have to remember that the AK is an integrated weapon. I can use my sights to attack. I can use that. I can use my magazine. I can use the charging bolt. I can use, back here, on my gun butt. Once I take that back here, all of the different features kind of disappear. What it is it's a very efficient way of people working with the rifle, modifying it, creating a really good machine. But we're a country that doesn't go to war with the AK series. So everything that Russians have developed over time, they've done based on their combative experience. We are a country that goes to war with the AR platform. So we're not used to all the problems that are going to happen other than an easy firing range about a left side charging bolt. If you want to do it, do it. It is a good system. I've played with them before. It's a lot of fun. But from an efficiency sake, for your integrated system, if you go with that bolt, you have to use this. Now you're back to the problem that we have of tying up your trigger hand and not being able to get to your pistol. It's your decision, whatever you want to do. The AK is a great rifle system. I'm not going to go into everything right now with how I use it. I do love these rifles. You can beat them up, you can do whatever you want with them, and they're great rifles. Just remember, it's all about efficiency. Limited movement to get things done. I'm Matt Powell with Pramek. Check us out, pramek.com. Stop on by the website. We got some updates going on pretty soon. We've also got a great Facebook group. Facebook us at Pramek.